Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought I'd share with all of you 5 things that I wish I would have known before becoming a psych major. There's a lot of students out there that are currently in the process of applying to college and would like to know what it's like to be a student from a specific major. And personally, I wish I would have known these things before becoming a psych major. Everything that I'm going to mention in this video is not to downplay the major, because there's definitely a lot of things that I am very thankful for that the major provided me. And so I really hope that all of you find this helpful. And with all that said, I'll just move right into today's video. Before I begin though, I just want to make a quick disclaimer that my experience is definitely very different compared to other students' experiences. Everyone goes to different types of schools, and each school has their own requirement in terms of the major. And so the things that I am going to be mentioning have to do with the things that I learned being a student in a small liberal arts college. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out there just in case anyone was wondering. Alright, so the first thing that I wish I would have known before becoming a psych major is that there aren't that many jobs available once you graduate. So this is something very important because a lot of students have this idea where once you get a degree from undergrad, there's a chance that you're going to get a job once you graduate. And this really depends on the type of major. So for example, students who are doing business majors or science majors tend to go straight into the workforce right after. And just having the bachelor's degree is sufficient enough for them to qualify for a job. However, students who are, for example, a psych major, there aren't that many job opportunities for students who have psych degrees because there's usually a different level of education required for students to work in the workforce. I kind of already knew this going into my senior year, that I wasn't going to have a lot of job opportunities, but if I would have had, like, for example, another major that would have allowed for me to work, then there wouldn't have been a problem. But because I was just a psych major, I was limited to what exactly I wanted to do post-grad. So that's something that you should keep in mind when considering a psych degree. The next thing that I wish I would have known before becoming a psych major is that there's going to be a lot of reading, and there isn't going to be a lot of opportunities to do hands-on projects. What I mean by this is because a psych degree is the foundation for learning about various forms of theories, you're going to study and you're going to learn each and every theory there possibly is in the psych field. The theories can vary depending on the class, of course, but for the most part, there's going to be a lot of reading on how these theories are applied in real world experiences. And that's something that I didn't necessarily know. I ended up learning more and more that each class focused more on reading than hands-on experiences, and that's something that I wish I would have had differently. Also, like I said, it depends on the school that you attend. Some schools are mostly science focused, and if they are science focused, then there's a possibility that the major may be hands-on because you may have the opportunity to do an anatomy course in psychology. I could be wrong, but I know that's something that I didn't get the chance to do that I would have liked to have done. So the third thing that I wish I would have known before becoming a psych major is that you're going to love APA. Depending on your major, of course, you're going to have different forms of writing. So for example, for basic English writing, you have MLA. For research papers, you have APA. And I think there's also Chicago, but being a psych major, you're going to have to use APA for literally everything. And to be honest, I'm very thankful that I was able to write all of my papers in APA, because now I can easily, with confidence of course, go ahead and write a paper and not struggle with the citation portion or the references because it comes naturally to me. I use OWL Purdue to make sure that the citations that I do are correct, but for the most part, I don't really have to use it that much just because the psych major prepared me enough to write in APA. Even if you're not a psych major, I would recommend to still learn APA because APA deals a lot with research, and there might be a slight chance where your major might incorporate some form of research, and anything that has to do with research, like I said, deals with APA. And you're gonna have to apply APA to your paper. That's something that a lot of students struggle with, but me personally, I enjoyed having that one-on-one interaction with APA and with my professors, of course, because they're also very confident in writing in APA. All right, so the next thing that I wish I would have learned before becoming a psych major is that as a student, specifically as an undergrad student, you are limited to doing things as a result of confidentiality. What I mean by this is, let's say for whatever reason, you are interested in the field marriage and family therapy, or becoming a clinical psychologist, a school psychologist. You're not really allowed to shadow a therapist or shadow a psychologist because of confidentiality. And confidentiality is this idea where you are working with an individual who is not allowed to say any form of information about yourself. So let's say for whatever reason I am interested in going to therapy. My therapist has to tell me specific guidelines that she's not allowed to say any information that I tell her unless...
Hi everyone, so I just wanted to come on here and just clarify what I was trying to say. So basically the only way that the therapist can break confidentiality is if you are either planning to harm yourself, someone else is trying to harm you, or if you are going to harm others. And I just wanted to put that out there just because I didn't say it correctly, and I don't want to spread false information given that this topic is very sensitive, and I just want to make sure that I am providing correct information. And if you want, I would recommend to research more on the significance of confidentiality, given that I am in no way, shape, or form an expert on this topic. But I just wanted to pop on here and just quickly state that. So yeah, I'm just going to continue with the video.
That's when the therapist has to break confidentiality. But I won't dive much into that detail just because that is mostly for students who wish to kind of do internships along those fields. But for the most part, that's something that I wish I would have known because I wanted to do internships shadowing individuals in that field, but I couldn't. This also includes when I was doing my senior thesis. I wanted to interview specific individuals to ask them questions on their experiences, but as an undergrad student, I didn't have the rights, if that makes sense, to gather that type of information. So that's something that I wish I would have known. And there's nothing anyone can do about it really, unless of course you're a grad student and you have more of the chance to work one-on-one with people, but that can definitely play a huge role, especially if you're interested in that field and you are a psych major. All right, so the last thing that I wish I would have learned before becoming a psych major is that you're going to learn a lot about yourself and the people around you as well. So that's something that I'm glad that I learned being a psych major, because I was able to discover certain emotions on different experiences that I have, and vice versa, how the experiences help shape who I am now as an individual. And because of this, I learned a lot about myself as well as those around me. Another example that comes up to mind is let's say for whatever reason you are driving and you come across an individual who's having a rough day. You as a psych major are able to determine that the reason why they're having a bad day is because they had an experience that triggered their emotions, and now their emotions are playing a role into the rest of their life. So those are things that I am very grateful for, because now I'm able to apply what I learned to the real world. Our professor kind of shared with us a piece of information that students who apply to real world jobs are more likely to get hired because being a psych major teaches them a lot about human behavior and how to work with others. So that's a pro that I didn't really know, and till this day that's something that I can hand in hand apply to my current job, and not just my current job, but the experiences that I face on a day-to-day basis. So that's something that I highly would take advantage of being a psych major, because you don't really learn those things in like a marketing or business major. So that is it for today's video. I hope that you all enjoyed getting a better idea of what it's like to be a psych major based off of the experiences that I faced. Um, like I mentioned previously, each experience is different depending on the type of school that you attend, and other students may also have different things that they wish they would have learned before becoming a psych major. But I definitely am very glad that I learned these things because now I'm able to share with all of you and others who are interested in learning more about the field and what it's like to be a psych major. If you have not subscribed already, I would greatly appreciate it if you could. It's close to the end of the year, and I made myself a goal where I would have a certain number of subscribers by the time that comes. And although I am still growing very, very slowly, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so that I know that you are enjoying my content. So with all that said, I will see you all next week, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye!